Maybe.
Welcome to Stirring the Pot with Lou Marconi and Johnny Cleveland. Part of the Fanatical L's Network, fans first. Join us now.
Yeah, join us now. Damn it.
Join us now. It's a holiday. Come on, guys.
Hey, welcome everybody to Stirring the Pot. This is a new edition, special edition on Martin Luther King Day, Inauguration Day for President Trump. All sorts of things going on today in the world of the world. Currently, they are inaugurating, right, Lou?
The
president
just did.
and the
They
vice
just
president.
did.
Okay.
Yep. We have a new president, new vice president as
All
of
right.
right now.
All right. Congratulations to all there. And then it's cold there. They had it indoors. You were saying before the show, it was been, what you said, 85 was the last time that the inauguration took place?
Yeah, Reagan's second term. That's correct.
That's been a long time. Lou, that's 40 years, man. We're old.
I was in middle school.
I was in high school. I'm a little older than you, but
Yeah, it was Reagan's second term. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
I rember that. Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, sixth grade.
Well, we got a big game tonight. We're both wearing our
Yep.
Buckeye gear.
Absolutely.
I'm freezing here. It's like you said, it's 7 there. I think it's about 7 here in Columbus. I'm trying to decide. We're waiting here. I'm a school, person, and waiting to hear if what's going to happen tomorrow, because I know a lot of schools are.
My
with the
wife
wind
works for the
chill.
schools. Yeah. So she's saying the same thing. And my daughters, I have a 9-year-old and 7-year-old. They're thinking it's not going to be a snow day. It's just going to be a weather day. It's
Right.
Yeah. That's happened before. I would expect it. And
Well, I'm in
Wednesday
a tech group chat with some of the powers
Teachers.
to be above us, and so I'm waiting to hear from them. Maybe a little early today.
Doesn't the superintendent make the call? Isn't that who it is?
Yes, and usually but it's one of those forecasts with the wind chills. It's that minus.
Before we go any further,
yeah.
The news broke this morning that the passing of Big Chuck Shadowski from Big Chuck and Little John,
Yes.
Big Chuck and Houlihan.
Mm-hmm.
He was 90 years old. My
90?
childhood.
Wow.
My childhood. He passed away. God, lots of prayers to the family of his passing.
Yeah. Well, that was great. The Chuck and what was the show called again? Chuck and
Big Chuck and Little John.
Big Chuck and Little John.
There was Big Chuck and Houlihan too. I remember when he had Houlihan on the show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Friday nights. My Friday nights as a child in Cleveland. We used to stay up late and watch that.
Good stuff.
On Channel 8. Yeah. So God bless you, Chuck, man. Thank you for all the memories. Thank you.
Yeah, I always listen to WJW Channel 8. That was the go-to for me. Dick Goddard and that crew. And didn't Big Chuck and Little John did that whole shenanigans with the balloon launch? Do you remember they did that balloon thing back where they launched a bunch of balloons? And then
it was like 86. I remember because it rained, and all these helium balloons just dropped back down because it rained.
Right.
That was downtown. That was at Public Square.
Oh my gosh.
It was just like, it was like 1 million balloons were released in Cleveland. But anyway,
did you ever do that when you were a kid? Like when you were like, did you ever do like the we would launch balloons? Like there would be like events, and we'd write notes to somebody or somehow we would do that when we were in school a couple times. And then we'd launch the balloons off and hope that somebody across the country would find our balloon with our little message. And they
yeah.
You remember doing stuff like that back in the day?
Oh yeah. Never came back, but yeah.
No, I don't.
End up somewhere, in a field somewhere or something.
Right.
But
No.
John, we have things to talk about. We got.
I know we got lots of things. I'm just.
What do you want to start? Do you want to start with? Yeah, I'm seeing that. Do you want to start with the Buckeyes, Notre Dame?
Yes, let's do that since we're decked out in our red.
Buckeyes were 8.5-point favorite for this game.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I think that Michigan loss changed that team because since then they played like they've been on a mission.
Who's the kid that got the fumble? That was that ran it back the other week.
Jack Sawyer.
Did you see his story about he wrote about that a little bit about what you just said after the Michigan game? that whole like locker room sort of they all talked and the coach and stuff. Did you see that little bit
Yeah,
he shared? Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, it's really an interesting case of, let's get around this and just do this and play and fight. They definitely. Do you think they'll come out and fight like they've been doing the last few weeks and really like play
Oh yeah,
angry and aggressive?
yeah. I think they will against Notre Dame,
Yeah.
especially the defense, because Notre Dame's offensive line's banged up. So I mean, they should feast. They should. And keep in mind, Texas had the top ranked pass defense in the country,
Yes.
and we beat
Yes.
them. And they just made sure they kept Jeremiah Smith out of the game, so we beat them underneath. The only interception that Will Howard threw, well, there's two in the playoffs. The other one was like a fluke one in the end zone against Tennessee, which was meaningless. The other one was this one because he tried to force it to Jeremiah Smith, and that was it. But otherwise,
Right.
they were doing fantastic. I mean, Texas was the third ranked team in the country.
Yeah.
They're
Notre Dame. Oh, you got a dog in the background there. I see a little dog roaming around behind
oh
you.
no,
Is
it's a
that
cat.
your-
It's a cat. It's
That's
a
a
cat.
cat. It's a.
It's a black cat. Yeah. I had no idea she was still in here. Okay.
That's
Right.
funny. The Notre Dame quarterback, I don't forget the kid's name, but he's good. I'm anxious to see
Riley Leonard.
how he stacks up today because he's made some mistakes along the way during this playoff run, and they're not the best team. I'm in Maurice. What is it? Coach Foreman. What's Notre Dame's coach's name?
Freeman.
Freeman, who used to play for the Buckeyes. Lost 2 games back in his day, in like championship games, or right? Didn't they lose? I read somewhere that when they've got into this point for Ohio State when he played for them, they lost.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So
was that the probably LSU in Florida?
So that hasn't been that long, right?
No, that was about 17 years ago. Yeah, I was going to say this. It seems like they win a national championship tonight. That'll kind of wash away the Michigan loss.
Yeah,
but they got to beat them. Yeah. But they got to beat them next year. So
really, do you think so? I mean, think about that. Like, if they win the national championship,
you can't lose to your rival 5 years in a row.
Yeah, but if he comes away with now listen, I'm not a big Ryan Day fan. You know that. I already said like I don't have a lot of I don't think that Ryan Day's the greatest of all time. And but if you win a national championship, even if I know you got to beat the team up north. I get that, but I don't know, man.
Wins a national championship. Yeah, I'm still saying he knows he still has to do that. He has to shake that monkey off his back. He's got to start beating Michigan.
Right.
So, but that's neither here nor there. Let's focus on tonight. They're gonna. I think Ohio State's gonna win.
How big? Big?
I think by about 10 points. I think they can win it by 10 points. And hey, I thought, but then again, anything can happen in one game because I honestly thought Detroit Lions were going to beat the Commanders.
That's a little different, right? Don't you think the NFL's a little different than college football?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally different talent levels. Yeah, but anything can happen in one game as long as Ohio State goes out and plays like they did against Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas. They should
think about that. That is so damn impressive. Because I remember going into this playoff run, people were like, "Holy cow! There's no way in God's green earth." After losing to Michigan, no one thought what you just said: Oregon, Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas. In Texas at the Cotton Bowl.
It's a Cotton Bowl. It's basically a away game, and yeah. So I'm very much looking forward to that tonight. I'm looking forward to the Cavs playing the Suns in a matinee game.
Is that coming up? Yeah,
coming up 3:30 today. At 3:30. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to this offseason to see what the Browns do because we're going to tie that in. I had a theory tied into the Ohio State quarterback, which I said because the Browns have the 33rd pick in the draft, which is the first pick in the second round. Yep. The Ravens did this in 2018. They traded into the last pick of the first round to have a 5-year control of their quarterback, their rookie, and it was Lamar Jackson. Now, could they do that? And I say, to me, the best quarterback in this draft, just based on what I've seen on the field throughout covering both teams, is Will Howard.
Oh, absolutely,
because he's faced the best competition in college football. When people talk about Jackson Dart, they talk about.
Now I like Dart. I've watched Dart going back to last year.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Dart, or they talk about Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. when they faced the topper level of defenses in college, they didn't do so well.
Mhm.
So I'm going, all right, or not even that. I mean, Nebraska. I mean, Shador Sanders struggled against Nebraska. So
Mhm.
there you go. Now, I just say this because I heard Tennessee loves Cam Ward. Take him. Go ahead. Take him, Tennessee. We'll take Abdul Carter. We could trade up one spot
Yep.
and just all you did trade up one spot, which cost much to trade up one spot. It won't.
Mhm.
To get 5 years control of a rookie quarterback of Will Howard. And you sign a guy like a Kirk Cousins or Jacoby Brissett and draft and trade for another veteran
So we're going to
backup.
find out, like, we'll know, right, before the draft. My understanding is, I mean, with the free agency and stuff, we'll know, like with Kirk Cousins before April 24th, what we're going to do.
Right. April
So-
6th, March 16th, he'll have to be cut or else he gets paid $10 million by them. And
Okay, March
Atlanta
16th. Okay.
yeah, and Atlanta said they weren't going to cut him, but I don't see them paying him that. So
Yeah.
if you're going to have him back up, so you might as well let him go, and we'll just sign him for the league minimum. And meanwhile, Atlanta has to
So
pay that.
if we get Kirk Cousins, then I think you're right. I mean, Will Howard. I mean,
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins is the bridge guy. We talk about bridge quarterbacks.
and he learn how Will Howard learns behind
He's
him.
a big guy. He kind of reminds like a Ben
He's
Roethlisberger, so 6'3", 6'4".
6'3", 240.
And I will say this, and I've said this on my show and other
Mm-hmm.
times too. But I mean, when he came to Ohio State, and I've already mentioned this to you, that my friends in Kansas, and I lived out there in Wichita, I have a lot of K-State fans. They were like, "Oh, okay, great, have fun with Will Howard." Will Howard, he wasn't bad at K-State, but he wasn't doing the things that he's doing here at Ohio State, mostly because he's got such great talent, especially at wide receiver positions like Jeremiah Smith. I mean, he's able to really accelerate and show off his arm, his mobility, his everything.
He could roll out. He could do play action.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the prototypical.
See, he was challenged.
Quarterback.
He was challenged. Now he played through at K-State, and he had that one more year of eligibility. Thus, he's here at Ohio State. But Avery Johnson is the kid that's at K-State. That's one the younger kid who's been playing, and they were kind of utilizing him, especially last year when Will Howard was still at Kansas State, kind of in a dual role. So Will Howard would play most of the games, but they were injecting Avery Johnson into that team in the latter stages. I watched a lot of those games, and Avery's a lot more mobile. He's a kid I helped coach when he was playing basketball, so I know him a little bit. So he's a great athlete. I mean, so he's a better, like, athletically, like a running guy compared to Will Howard was a year ago. But I've been so impressed, like you've been talking about, with Will Howard now. Just seeing that development, and he's so dedicated. He so much wants to win so badly, and you can hear it in his commentary. I mean, I think tonight's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. I can't see him laying an egg, but
no, I don't. And he like the mistake in Oregon and the bad game against Michigan, he bounced back. He learned from them, and he's going to have growing pains in the NFL. Any quarterback would. But I'm seeing these things as fourth round grades on this guy, and I'm like, where, why? And it's probably because they said he has a talent around him at Ohio State, which is possible to say that. Okay, but I think he's at least a second round guy, and it doesn't hurt to take a 32nd pick overall versus 33rd overall on him. And then you got him. So you got him for 5 years, and by the time that 5 years is up, Watson's contract's done. We're past that, and I think that's and which the Watson thing was a big swing and a big miss. That's all it was. And they're already moving on. They are already moving on from him. That's why we hired Tommy Rees. That's why we hired the new offensive line coach, was Bloomgren. Where they're going back to what they did before, because they tried to cater to him, like that old Lloyd article, Zach Jackson and Jeff Lloyd's article. They tried to fit the offense to him, and it didn't work. It failed miserably, and it was failing. Keep in mind, some of the stories, like the Bill Callahan part, I didn't quite believe, because Callahan left to be with his son, or he wasn't calling out Deshaun in team meetings. Well, Deshaun only threw one interception those games. So if he's calling out people on interceptions, he's going to call out Winston, because he's throwing three 2 pick sixes a game.
Right.
I mean, he's going to do that. Yeah. So
Okay.
I don't know if how that exactly entirely, but go ahead.
When you think about, okay, so the Browns, we're talking about Will Howard, we're talking about potentially, being drafted by the Browns, we're talking about Kirk Cousins. There are other free agents out there that are potentially available. Sam Darnold is one. Zach Wilson is another. Steve Gill on the our other show, Dog Pound South, has mentioned Daniel Jones from the New York Giants.
I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No, Sam Darnold, he had a great year in Minnesota, but
well, he was exposed completely. I mean, he's never been that guy. I'm sorry, like he hasn't been. I mean, you compare that to somebody like Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen right now with the Buffalo Bills, my God,
And I am rooting for Buffalo hard Sunday.
Yes, I think everybody in the world is going to be
Except
rooting
for Kansas City fans.
Kansas City. Now, I will say I did live in Kansas. I do have some. I'm not a super fan, but I know the system and the players and the talent and stuff. So, but yeah, I know the whole stuff that's been going on there, and the referees have been very. Yes.
Horrible. Horrible. It's like it. And I'm sick of Taylor Swift. I'm just sick of that crap. I'm done with it. Honestly,
it was nice to see. It was nice to see. What's his face? Kareem. Get a touchdown, get a nice first down or two in that game. And I know, and I'm not, like I mentioned this on my Johnny Cleveland podcast last night. I can still be happy for Kareem, and I'm not trying to revisit history and say, the Browns needed to keep him. I mean, I think that they had kept him around, that things would have been okay this year. But some people say, well, he's not, it's past. Don't keep going back to it. And I'm not going back to it, but it's okay to, he's excelling or he's had some moments in Kansas City because of the team, because of the coaching, because of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I mean, that helps. So,
I would think that we're going to draft a running back. We're going to bring Chubb
back. Who do you think that might be? I mentioned Travion Henderson in my draft. In my little mock draft, I took Shadir Sanders first, and then I took I took Travion with the third pick of the third round, the second pick that the Browns have in the third round.
I could see that, or Montarian Hampton from UNC, him too. So one of those guys, Travion Henderson, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't complain at all if they got him. But
what about Cam Ward? Any thought that could be?
Well, before Tennessee fired their general manager, I heard they loved Cam Ward. So I don't know if that's still true now. So I don't think he's going to. I don't see the Browns drafting one of these quarterbacks. I just don't.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just me. I don't see it happening. I just
see like Dustin Fox is guaranteeing. Dustin Fox, the commentator there up in Cleveland, is guaranteeing that the Browns are going to take a quarterback. And you see some of these national pundits
in the
also
draft
saying,
at some point, but not in the first round. I don't see.
He's saying that they're going to take a quarterback at number 2. That's what he came out last week, and and there's been a few other people out there.
To it. I just don't see it. I'm not seeing it. I'm just like,
okay.
I'm just not saying. I'm saying Abdul Carter's can't miss.
Yes,
he's a can't miss. He's a can't miss guy. You take him. You got him opposite.
And you think about the Browns getting back Alex Wright. Some of these other players coming back from injury.
You got a lot of really good young pass rushers.
Now there's a couple. I want to say here. I wrote my article yesterday. I was going to try to find it again. I had a couple other guys I wanted to mention to you and see what you thought. There was
draft prospects or free agents.
Yeah, draft prospects.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. The kid out of Alabama, linebacker.
Oh yeah.
I took him at number 33 in this mock draft. I took Shadir Sanders at 2, and then I took what is the kid's last name?
Jess, you're gonna ask me.
Here it is. I got it right here. I'm pulling it up. It is Jahad Campbell.
That's
Good,
possible.
just big kid, 6'3", 6'2", fast, hard nose. Good tackler. I had Travion Henderson, like I mentioned, going at 67 in the third round. And then the final pick of the third round, I had them taking a defensive tackle named Shamir Turner out of Texas A&M. So
Okay.
that was my first run through on draft picks. I don't know. So you think right now, I mean, Abdul Carter, I mean, that would be your pick at
That's
number
my
2.
guy. That's my
Yeah.
guy too.
What
Now,
if Travis Hunter's there? What if Travis, I mean, you pass on Travis Hunter at 2?
I think Carter's a better player
Okay.
doing
I
what he
mean,
does. I think
okay.
it's monument. It's just, yeah, Travis Hunter's a great player. Don't get me wrong. Do
Uh-huh.
not get me wrong. But I would say if someone, it's for some reason Abdul Carter goes 1, you could take Travis Hunter 2. I wouldn't complain.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's pause for a quick break, Lou, and we'll
Mhm.
be right back. This is the Stirring the Pot show with Lou Marconi and myself, Johnny Cleveland. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back here on Stirring the Pot. Lou, what's going on with the city? They're playing.
Last
They're being knuckleheads. I talked about it in my. I mean, just
they're
stupid.
they're basically they're what they're hoping for. Okay, they know this lawsuit's not really going to go anywhere, but they're hoping that they can get the construction delayed
Yeah.
long enough, because if the Haslams are on a timeline, they're like, look, we need to start moving on this.
Right.
Well, we're at it. Can we settle something? Because even Dennis Kucinich was on TV. He was a former Cleveland mayor and former local congressman.
Yep.
He said, there's got to be a way something can be worked out. In other words, they're trying to get to the negotiating table to have the Browns show up, write a check. Can you let us leave? Will you withdraw this lawsuit and let us go? Here, we're putting this check to you
Yeah.
so you can help rebuild that
Yeah.
waterfront, which they could have done that years ago. They could have
Well,
done
that's
that
what
years.
I've been saying. Like, I mean, you and I both have been around the block a few times. The city has this debate and what they're going to do with the shoreline has been talked about for decades.
Yep. It's
I
just
mean, it's just,
bureaucracy. It's just bureaucracy after bureaucracy.
and you still
So
have the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse down there. You still have
progressive
Jacobs
field,
Field down there.
progressive field. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the city's going to go to hell in a handbasket.
No, and it's what 15 days out of the year people go to that stadium. 15
I,
days out of
I
the year
don't.
and it's
Yeah.
empty. It makes and it's a money pit. It makes so the thing that but I'm wondering if the city can get an injunction to halt construction, that will do
Mhm.
it. If they can't get the injunction to halt construction or starting this, because if the Haslams have the private money they already have using, 2/3 of it's already privately funded, ready to
See,
go.
this is my thing that people that are against this stadium stuff say that again because I
Okay,
agree.
they
It's
said
two
in their
thirds. It's
statement,
yeah.
I've read it on the show. I've
You
cited it
have
in their public statement. They said it's the total project for the with the stadium and all the surrounding elements of it, whatever
yes.
part of what do you want to call it, the facilities, stores, shops, whatever. It's 3.6 billion. All
Yeah.
right. 2.4 billion is already set up, privately funded by the Haslam Sports Group and private investors. That last
Mhm.
1.2 billion is supposed to be for that stadium. And what they're trying to do is go to the state of Ohio to borrow against future tax dollars, which is like a bond.
Yeah.
But if they're borrowing, that means you pay it back.
What
At-
concerns me about some of this is David Yost, or the guy is interjected
yeah.
at the state level supporting the city. Have you seen that this
Well, he
last
didn't
week?
necessarily support the city because the
Okay.
Browns did a countersuit wanting clarification on the Art Modell law,
Yes. Yes.
saying it's unconstitutional. Because if they
Yes.
said, look, because the Art Modell law states like, hey, if they leave during their lease and they're
Yeah.
getting taxpayer funded money,
Right.
well, okay. Well, the city's argument is it doesn't matter if the lease is already expired and they paid the debt.
Right.
That's irrelevant. What's relevant is they benefited from it, so they can't just leave. Well, the Browns are saying, wait a second, we're fulfilling our obligation with the lease.
Mhm.
Why can't we go?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we're not leaving. We're not even leaving the county. We're not leaving the
No, and that's
market.
the
Yeah.
boneheaded part that just drives me batty. And the fact that the Haslam saved the Columbus Crew from going to Austin, Texas, they did use the Modell rule because that was the way it was intended to be used. And now it's okay. We're driving down 10 miles to Brook Park. You know, come on, man. We had the Cavs in Richfield for years when they started out back in the 70s.
20 years.
It's just
It's
boneheaded.
baffling to me because the people are like it's taxpayer money. Well, if they're borrowing from the state and paying it back. So the thing is, 2/3 of it can begin construction. I would think, unless the city has a courts put an injunction on the construction, that would be the thing.
So that's the latest thing, and that's what we don't know right now.
That's what we don't know yet. So, but they're trying. What the city is trying to do is get the Haslam's to show up with a checkbook, write them a check, so they'll let them go.
Is that like the top headline news, like most days up in Cleveland when you listen or follow?
When something happens, when something happens, Right now, everybody's talking about the weather, but
yes,
that's it. Then a news story comes up. Oh, we got a comment.
Oh, we got a comment.
Yeah. Who commented?
Respectful comment.
Oh yeah. Hey,
thanks, Brian.
Thanks. Hey, happy inauguration day. So, yeah, he's talking. Trump's talking right now. I could see it on the monitor. Yeah, he already got inaugurated. So my thinking is going to be something's going to come down within the next couple months. I think we're going to make a deal. If I'm going to predict anything, there's going to be a deal and it's going to happen. And the city is going to say, hey, they're helping us repurpose the lakefront. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think of your Cleveland Cavaliers, Lou?
I'm excited. They're at the halfway point of the season and they're 35-6. They're on pace to winning 70 games this season, which is insane. And
even if they win 60 games, you lose an extra 10 games as second. I mean, what an outstanding season. I mean, I'm hoping the national media, I guess the bugaboo here though, for me with the Cavs, when we're talking about Cavs, they've got to be able to beat Boston. And I know Boston is
doing great. We're doing great, Big E.
The Boston Celtics are still, I know that they're behind us by a few games, but they really are.
They're a good team.
They're the team that the Cavs are going to have to go through to
get to the NBA
become legit. And it's kind of like the Cavs with the Chicago Bulls back in the day and some of these other things with the Cavs, finally beating the
Bulls
Warriors.
were better than us back then. Yeah, the Bulls were better than us at that time. I think I think this year we lost to Boston once, but we also beat them here.
Yeah.
So we can beat Boston.
Yes.
Whether we do or not, we can beat them. So, I mean, more than likely, we're on pace to be in the number 1 seed, and we should get to the conference finals, and we'll probably be facing
basketball is a very long season. I know I've coached high school basketball, and the seasons are long, especially in the NBA, and the fact that the finals are not going to be until June.
Ohio State wins by 20.
Okay, Big.
Nice. All right, Big.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact that the Cavs, I mean, potentially they could be to the final. It would be in June. So we're talking about like 6 months from now.
Just little factoid: June 19th, 2016.
Yes.
In 2016, it was June 19th, 2016 was my 43rd birthday. My first Father's Day, and my daughter was baptized that day, and it was Game 7 in 2016.
And it was a great day for you. It was a great day for your family.
Great day for everybody. Yeah. So that, and I was in North Carolina when that happened.
I mean, do you think? Okay, so like I mentioned this, I think the Cavs have every ounce of every opportunity to get there to the finals. But let's say they get to the Eastern Conference Championship game, and let's say they fall again to Boston. I'm playing what if. I still think I know, considering everything we're talking about currently and what an amazing start it's been, I still think it should be deemed a success overall, because basketball, it's not one of those sports. I mean, Golden State did it for so many years in a long stretch. I think the Cavs, with Kenny Atkinson as coach, will be there consistently for the next 4, 5, 6 seasons. I really do, or at least the next 3 or 4. That if they were to falter to Boston, they'd still be going back up there in the several years to go. And I still would consider this to be a successful campaign.
Absolutely.
Because they got to the Eastern Conference Championship, and that was the one thing. When you were did you watch the Thunder game the other night? I don't know about you. Was it Brian Anderson who does the commentary? He was the national guy, and I think Ethan Greenberg, our colleague who does Going Nuclear, was texting me about this. But Brian Anderson is not the biggest Cavs fan, but it was funny. He even said, and I don't know if people caught this. He said that that the Cavs were behind the Thunder's progress, and that the Cavs hadn't really been to the playoffs. I'm like, dude, the Cavs were in the playoffs last year, made it past the first round, beat Orlando. They played the Knicks the previous year. So, and you got Donovan Mitchell, a much more savvy veteran than anybody that they've got. I mean, the Thunder are a great team. They're young, but I was a little surprised how cocky they were in that win against they were so kind of docile in the game, the previous game in Cleveland, and they were kind of coming out of the woodwork. I mean, I know they won by 20 and they were up by 40 at one point in that game, but I don't know. I get annoyed because,
I remember in January 2016, before David Blatt was fired.
Yeah.
I mean, Lou was hired. The Cavaliers got destroyed by Golden State at home.
Yes.
And
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So everybody's like, oh, yeah, you're not going to beat them. You're not going to beat them. I just didn't say anything. I just said, okay, we'll see what happens. They play the games for a reason, guys.
Yeah.
And
back to Big Bronco. What does he say here? Think of it.
I was thinking about the Ohio State having more NFL talent than Notre Dame. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Got another one here too. It's after the 90s. Yeah, it's bad. Not many people watch basketball anymore.
Yeah, but I would. The only thing I would disagree. I mean, if you watch Cavs games, you and I watch a lot of basketball. I think what the Cavs are doing, I mean, why they're so successful is because of how they've played the game.
Yeah.
Together. They're a very strong unit. They like playing with one another. The way that they distribute the ball on the offensive side of the ball and the way that they play defense most of the time is not what you traditionally see in the NBA. So I agree. The NBA is kind of it's you can take an off night. But I don't know. I mean, the Cavs, they're doing some really great things right now. So
absolutely. And it's going to be a fun second half of the season, and they're playing today, and we got the Buckeyes tonight.
Yeah, what time is the Cavs play game?
3:30 Eastern, and Buckeyes is 7:30.
So I know you want to finish watching the inauguration stuff, Lou. So
we want to wrap it up. But like I said, but the last thing I want to just close with is just don't focus on anything the Cleveland Browns brass say. Pay attention to what they do. They'll talk to you with what they do. Mm-hmm. Starting with free agency, see what they do. Kind of give you an idea what they're probably going to do the rest of the year. And I think Deshaun Watson, as of June 1st, 2026, he will be cut, and it's already over. They already moved. They're already moving on.
Well, I don't think he's going to ever play again. I think that's Steve and I were talking about that the other night. We don't
probably since he tore it again like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, interesting. Yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your.
We'll be here for the draft. We'll have a show that night.
Yes,
we
will.
Yeah, we'll definitely. We probably won't have it on here live like we did before, but we'll comment as it goes on.
Watch us here on the X. Watch us on Facebook. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us on Apple. Listen to us on Spotify. If you're listening to us right now on those platforms, we appreciate that. Spread the love. Talk about the Fanatical Elves Network. Lou Marconi's Bernie River Browns talk on Friday nights. We got a bunch of other shows too. Lou does an exceptional amount of great writing.
Thank you.
Every day. Got that Kent State journalism degree going to work
Cleveland
for you.
State.
Cleveland State. Damn it. Yeah. Why did I think Kent State?
I was too smart to go to Kent State.
Well, I have two family members that were journalists that went to Kent State. So that's
you said that to me before when we finally met face to face in downtown Cleveland.
It was Cleveland State.
Cleveland State. Yeah.
All right. Vikings, right? The Cleveland State Vikings.
Cleveland State Vikings. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, Lou, have a very good rest of your day, and appreciate you.
Thank you
coming on here, guys. Everybody have a great rest of your afternoon. Go Browns.
Go Buckeyes.
Go Buckeyes.
Hey, John, will you let me play this? Will you let me play this? Because I got the Ohio State band.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. You want to do that?
Yep. You got it?
Let's do it. I got it.
Okay. Got it. Here we go. Here we go, Buckeyes. Here we go.
Is it playing?
It is now.
Let's end the show with this.
See y'all later, guys. Go Bucks. Oh!